I think it's down. There we go.
There you go.
You're forewarned. Well, Lee's not back yet, so I'll wait for Lee to get here.
She's making tea for us.
Right.
If you could put
Tea
it
for
in-
two and two for tea.
and send that to the Federal Ministry. Have a couple of those out there. Maybe you can hold it. Yeah. I can hold it.
And one thing I'll be doing is screen sharing. And so I don't know how that's going to work on iPhones. I'll try to make it large enough so everybody can see anything specific. But screen sharing is helpful when we're looking at some of the ways to do things rather than just talk. Well, I think everybody got their materials. Is that right? Hopefully.
Well, we're out of town.
No.
Same here.
Okay. And you'll have the same materials in your Canvas folder that we'll have there Sunday morning if you can pick it up then. Actually, I'll have them Saturday morning if you were in the neighborhood and could just drop in. Or if you're coming by sometime Saturday, I can have them in the office, although I don't know if anybody's in the office after the training. So, but that's where they'll be if you're not able to pick them up Sunday as well. We'll put them in the office. But hopefully you're there Sunday because we are having a wonderful breakfast in honor of you and all the other canvassers. So first of all, I just want to say how pleased I am with all of you that have signed up to do this because it makes the work a lot easier and it also makes sure, well, it doesn't absolutely make sure, it makes it much more likely that we'll visit or at least touch base with everybody in the congregation and friends of the congregation. We have 41 canvassers signed up. So
Wow,
that's the most we've had since before the pandemic. So it's in fact, it's been a while since we've had that many. So that's a very good start. This is an important year. We've gotten through the COVID thing and with the support from the government. And then we also had a very large contribution for our RE department that covered expenses there for, not all expenses, but a lot of expenses there for several years. But that's going away as well. So we're on the threshold of needing to raise more funds if we're going to maintain our programs as we have them now with the same quality of people in RE and leading the choir. That's something that'll be decided still. We have two more, I think. John, do we have two more listening sessions? Where
I believe so.
yeah, where we have some of us did the first one. And it was seeking feedback from, okay, these are our overall costs, and this is what we're losing this, we're gaining this, blah, blah, blah. If we want to maintain things the way they are, it pretty much came down to $50,000 additional pledge money needed, which is about a 15% increase from what we've been getting in pledges over the last several years. It's been fairly steady, but it hasn't been growing. So that doesn't mean that we're hoping that on average everyone will give 15% more. Of course, we are hoping for more. But what it also means is that if we can reach out to more people and have more people pledging, then that can help us accomplish the same goal. We're also hoping to get people to get back to us, and Lee and I will be pestering people from the altar. I don't know what the right word is for up on the stage or altar, but anyway, up there to return your calls, return your emails, get back in touch with you in a timely manner so that we can move along and get the pledges in and be able to report to the board and to start seeing what needs to be done. Whether raising pledges or, I mean, more money pledges or other ways, or what we're going to have to do budget-wise to adjust to the amount of pledges that we have. So all pledgers that we know and new people, like from the choir and from religious education that haven't pledged before, have been assigned to canvassers. So there are new people that you'll be working with, and there'll be a lot of folks that have been giving all along. Our theme this year is listening forward. And I don't know if it made sense what I wrote in a brochure. But the concept is that we're listening to ourselves in the future, 5, 10 years down the road, ourselves and others at BUF. And they're looking back at this period of time and they're seeing what we've been doing now. And what will they be applauding? What will they be grateful for that we're doing now so that BUF is still strong and sustainable 5, 10 years farther down the road? So it's not quite a few of us, I think, I know me anyway, I'm getting long in the tooth. So I'm seeing it personally anyway, as certainly for us older folks. But even more so for the younger folks and for the kids and those yet to be born. I love BUF, and I'm hoping it can be around for a long, long time. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do is start off with sharing the congregation letter. Now you have a copy of that, but I added. So let's see. We can make that bigger. I'm hoping to make this work for iPhones as well. Let's see, I can get rid of that guy. I think
Oh, that's looking good.
It's about as good as I can do. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, thank you. That's very good.
Okay. So the only thing I really added to the letter, other than the one that you have, is this right here. To maintain our present level of staffing services, we'll need to raise our total pledges by 15% or 50,000. So I just want to get that out there. And the one that I sent to you, it wasn't printed yet, so this one it's been printed that way. So this is what everybody's getting. It'll be mailed out on along with the brochure on Friday. That's the plan. I'm pretty sure that'll happen. Let's see. So the rest of this is already, let's see. I'm gonna just quickly go down. I don't know if this fair share contribution guide was in the one that I sent to you. Does this look familiar?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it was on the back, it was along with the pledge card that I sent to you. But it's also on the back of the letter. So I just wanted you to know that. Hope I'm not making you too dizzy here. This section here, I just want to touch on it because it essentially is being communicated to everybody about how they can pledge. Whether you're going to be, how will you connect? Some people will want to meet with you face to face. And if you're comfortable with that, that's great. If you're not, then we can help get someone that will work with them face to face. Because we want everybody to be comfortable, whoever it is that you're canvassing, and we want you to be comfortable as well. And in these COVID times, I mean, I'm still hearing about people getting COVID pretty regularly lately.
Yeah.
So, but there's there's flus and colds and all that stuff. And masking is fine too, if that's whatever you're agreeing with whoever it is you're canvassing, what you're both comfortable with, or all of you are comfortable with. So the options available to that then is in person. So here, right here, for number one, I'll just start with that one. That's kind of historically what we would do. We'd be going to people's homes. But some people like to, most people are good being canvassed in their own home if they're going to be face to face. But some would, I mean, I've had some where they would like to do it at a coffee house or at a restaurant or something. But it's can be well, you want it to be confidential. So you don't want to, I wouldn't suggest that, but if they suggest that, then certainly you can go along with that. But really we want to be as confidential as we can. Not that you're going to talk about money with them as far as their own money, but you might. And so it's just to, again, have it confidential and for them to be comfortable.
Mhm.
Some people may just want to do it by phone. That was pretty common during the 2020 2020 in particular, because I think a lot of us weren't used to Zoom yet or FaceTime or whatever. I got more used to that over time. But telephone's a fine way to do it. If they do by phone, then their options are, of course, they won't give you the information, or we don't want them to give the information to us over the phone. We want them to, you can mail them a pledge card if you want. You can, they can do it online, and I'll show you how to do that. Most of us maybe know already, but I'll walk us all through that. You can meet like we're meeting right now with Zoom or FaceTime. Oh, it's coming back to if it's telephone. So yeah, they can go online and do it, or they can do a pledge via email. And that's what's coming up on item number 4. So some of these kind of can work together. If it's by telephone, then you can send them to give on the BUF website, or they can do it via email to stewardship@buf.org. That goes to Michelle and to me. And so then we make sure that each of us makes sure those recorded. So we're kind of checking up on each other, make sure that we've got that done. Those are the only people that get that information.
So Rick,
Yes.
I just wonder about walking people through this stuff online. Some of our canvassers might not be comfortable with that. And I think if we get a canvassee, let's say the canvasser says, I just can't deal with the BUF website, for example, I'm going to be, it won't work, and it's going to be too hard. Then we could refer that canvasser could refer the pledger to somebody else who's more comfortable with online stuff, because all it is just walking them through how to pledge online. Did that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, so that
A
all
lot
the
of
canvassers
things
don't
that
know.
you kind of going to have to see, okay, what's going to work and
Yeah.
and if you have questions yourself, check with Lee or with me, and we'll be able to help you out
Yeah.
in those cases. But what I'm hoping to do here is to show you different options, and so you might hopefully you'll be able to work with most people directly. But we're very happy to help in any way that we can.
Absolutely. Mhm. Thanks.
Can you just, Rick, can you just click on the link so we see what it looks like? The
This link,
administrative overview, donate. Yeah, the link in the middle of the page, filling out the online pledge form here. That one, so we can see what the online pledge form looks like.
I will go there.
Oh, that'll be coming up?
Yeah,
Oh, fine, that's fine.
I can do it direct from here if you'd like.
No. I thought you were telling us to go do it on our own, and I thought it'd be helpful if you did it for us, with us, but.
Yeah,
you
no, I'm
will
going to
be.
walk you through it.
That's
Great.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you can use this link, but you need a digital copy to use the link, or you got to type in all that stuff. So
Of course, yes.
whether people will use that link to go online when you're talking to them, I don't know. You can email them that link. You can copy it and send it to them if that will help them. Then just click on it. But it's pretty easy to navigate. Well, I think it's easy to navigate on the BUF website as well. So there's different ways of getting there for that. But coming back to a way that a lot of people have done over the last few years is just emailing. I bet you at least a third, if not more, of our pledges have come in via email. And that's where we have the information here that we need. And that's going to relate a lot to the pledge card itself, which we'll also look at. But name, address, basic stuff that we need, how much they're giving and how often. And if they want to have it automatically deducted from a bank account, if so, then they need to say, I want it automatically deducted. If they don't have it set up yet, then they'll need to get a voided check into the office. And yeah, but via email, they can say they're essentially authorizing it via email. And then the last item here, C. I don't know if I'll get that more center there. You can also go to buf.org. So, Heather, I think I will just go ahead and just go straight into it. I mean, I had a certain order I was going to go through, but as long as I make sure I go through everything, that'll be okay. And we'll go there. So I'll just click on that. And I'm going to have to share that window. So I stop that one and then share. Hmm.
It may take a while.
Sorry about that. Except it's blank. Oh, there.
Give it. No, there you go.
Okay, so this is not, it's going to be a more direct link. I have not got the final letter because I just changed it and the brochure to Scott Heiss. He sets us up. So it'll actually go directly over here. So what I'm going to do is, since we didn't go direct there, I'm going to walk through how to do it on this website and then knowing that it'll land you on the actual this can you see my cursor right over here?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a stewardship 2024 or 25 pledge drive. That's where it'll take you to that page with that other link. This one just took us here because it's a temporary landing spot until we get the other set up. That'll be set up. Scott's usually pretty quick, so I would guess it'll be set up later tomorrow. I can't speak
Really?
for him.
Actually, on the upper right, there's something called Give.
Yeah, that's the way I've got
Yeah,
it showed.
click on that.
I was going to do that, Mike, but I thought I'd go back over just a home page. It's the same thing, but this is where when you first get into buf.org, this is where you land. And then you've got Give up here in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on that, then again, it's taking you kind of a different,
What's on the bottom?
well, it's over,
You have to scroll down. I think.
it's right here. Here's where it is right now. Now, Scott may put it, he had been, okay, if we're on the home page, there's some recent news stuff here. What he did last year was he put the 2020, well, the pledge drive link right in the recent news or featured events. I can't remember which one, but anyway, it's on the main page. But here, if we go to Give, and then we're all going into the pledge drive, this is where it takes you to the form.
Yeah.
Okay. And it says you're in the right place. So we even see that. If I clicked on the pledge drive brochure, it will not take us to the current brochure. I don't know where it'll take us, but so I'm not going to click on that, but it will within a day or two. Stewardship letter of the congregation, same thing. Suggested fair share, that one didn't change, so that's a good link right now. Um, and then it gets into other things. Most people, I think, are not going to look at this, but they can. Certainly, if you need to review what your pledge was last year, you can find it. It's somewhat cryptic, is what I have to feel. I mean, you can get there, but it's a bunch of different paths before you get to find that out. What we will have on the pledge cards that you will be given for your people to canvass will have their name and address, but we'll also have, I already have written in pencil and along the address label in the upper right-hand corner how much they gave for the current year. That's not something to be referred to directly as a matter of course, but if they're not remembering what they gave, then that's there as a reminder. We've done that in the past. People have found it helpful. Some people don't like having it there. I think it's a good thing to have because you can, if they can't remember, you can say, well, would you like me to tell you what it was? And then, or is, and then they'll know.
Rick,
Yeah.
something I found helpful, if I'm actually canvassing and I actually have the physical pledge card in a physical little brown envelope, it just, if the pencil is on there, I take it out and I don't look at the card. And then they say, well, gosh, I can't remember what I said last year. And I say, well, I don't know, but I think it's penciled into your card.
Okay.
Because they're holding the card then.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good approach.
Way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they give the card back, if they sign it right away and give it back, I don't look at it. I put it right in the card, in the envelope.
Yeah. That's the best practice, I would say, as far as
It works really well.
I'm sorry.
It works really well.
Yeah. Yep. But here, the assumption is they're doing it on their own or with your help.
Yeah.
So here's where it has that same information that we saw in the congregation letter, kind of spelled out as far as name, address, home phone, cell phone, if they want to give it to us, email 1 and 2 if there's 2 of them, or if they have 2 addresses. But usually we really like to have 1 address for one person. And then the dollar amount, and then if we scroll down,
That's true. Thank you.
is it per month, per quarter, per year? Some
Yeah,
people
thanks to
may
know.
not. This is if they're filling this. Well, so far at this point, they're just telling us how much they're giving and how often. Then next is if they're going to do electronic funds transfer, which is where it comes automatically out of their bank account. Then if they've already been doing it, all they have to do is say reauthorize, and that's it. If they have not been doing that, it looks like Scott has not done this, but oh, that's just checking to do that. And then if I'm going to skip over this part right now, but if they have not given via their through electronic funds transfer before, then down here there's authorization form that they will actually have to go to that. Well, I'll go to it. Go to that and print this out and then get it to the office along with a voided check. That's an extra step. Most people, if they're doing this, have already been doing it this way. So it's just a reauthorization. But new people and those who maybe have a different bank account or one that they rather use, then they'll need to do this form and sign it and get it into the office with a voided check copy. Michelle's going to have that to make it work.
I was at BUF when we first started that, and it was really, really helpful for the office. It greatly simplified our funding during the summer when people were in and out because it just was regular. And it was great for me because I never could remember if I'd put a check in the basket or not for that month. It's so if you're visiting with people and they ask about it, it's really, really convenient for the giver and it's really, really good for BUF. Some people don't want to, and that's a totally fine, but
Yeah,
if they're inclined towards something that's convenient and regular, it's great.
I like putting in my check in the basket,
Mhm.
but you just convinced me. Do this.
It's so nice. I mean,
Yeah.
it saves me probably 15 minutes a month.
Yeah, well, then
Never know.
it saves Michelle time, which is good.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
But going in the basket is good too. So,
And yes, all methods of giving money to BUF are good,
true.
as long
But
as
no
it's not
chickens.
chickens.
yeah, okay. So I came back to our original pledge form here. And
Getting off.
on the back of the pledge card and on the back of the congregation letter, it has a fair share guide. If people want to share, they can indicate what level they fit. Because we're never knowing, we don't know what their resources are. And that's such a critical part, I think, of what we do. We don't know what their circumstances are. We don't know what their income is. We don't know what their savings are. Their ability, the capability of giving. We don't know that, nor do we want to. I mean, yeah, we don't want to really get involved with saying or suggesting what they should be giving. It's really from their heart is what we're wanting.
Mhm.
And I have no idea if this, I'm not a robot. If you click on that, you have to see where the caterpillars are or whatever. I mean, it's it's annoying thing, but okay. So I think we're done with that one. Let's see. Whoops, I stopped sharing there.
It's a question, Rick,
Yes.
and Lee, I appreciate your best practice about putting the card in the envelope.
Mhm.
My one question is, do you want us to check the card for completeness? They've signed it, they filled out all the stuff we need to have filled out before just shoving it in an envelope without looking at it.
I think the best way to do that is to, if you're around, is to kind of watch as they fill it out from like across the table. You can sort of see what areas they're working on. But I don't know. That's a real play it by ear thing. I usually, to tell you the truth, I usually check the card after I get out to the car. Of course, ignoring the amount of money. But it's or you can ask, we need make sure you sign it and bank information. But yeah, that's tricky because it's a good thing not to leave without crucial information, and it's also a good thing not to invade their privacy. I don't know. I guess we'd probably leave that to your judgment. How
I would think I would ask them if they're doing the electronic funds transfer. And if they are, say, well, we have to have that signed. Did you get that signed? And if you haven't done it before, then, or if you're changing bank accounts, we need to get a voided check and have you sign again on the lower part of the form. You can do that without looking at their pledge form. But that's the most critical part. If they didn't sign up above with or didn't fill out the pledge amount, we can confirm that with them even via email or phone call later.
Yeah, right.
But the signing, that's more a logistic thing. It's nice to get that done while you're with them.
Rather than just penciling it in ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you do not want to sign that yourself. That's something illegal. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
See.
Whatever it is, I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not a good thing. We avoid that.
Rick?
Listening forward. Oh, did somebody have a question? No.
How many members do we have?
We have Paul just did an updated counting. And it had gone down, but it hadn't been updated for a couple of years, officially. Well, as officially as we can do, I guess. And I don't recall exactly. I do know that it went down. I would say something, but I'd hate to say the wrong thing. And so my memory, and I could look it up because I have a copy of that worksheet. But
That's okay. I was just curious to
it should
see.
show up on the UUA.org website ultimately. Because for each church, it shows how many members there are. And so I don't know how they update that, but it's something that Paul had to report like yesterday or something like that. That's why it was done, just got done because it was critical to get it to them.
It's not, it's like a, what, roughly 10% decrease, if I'm doing the math right?
At least,
Yeah, so it's not chump change, and it's,
yeah, it's significant, but it's not like some churches I've heard about.
oh yeah, it's not,
Drastic.
yeah.
And we have new people that are members yet, but
Yeah.
that's we're welcoming them into the fold. Yes.
Do we know why people are leaving?
Oh, there can be all kinds of different reasons.
People are dying. I mean, not a lot, but
Yeah. Well, I just wondered if people are moving away or.
sometimes
you know.
people move,
Well,
Yeah.
because of their age, they move to be in assisted care near their kids.
Yeah.
That's
we
not
have-
all.
Yeah, from our old chalice circle, we had 2 members that were moved to Seattle. And so they're not members of
Yeah.
BUF anymore. It's now in UU
We left
community
the
down
community
there.
around for
So,
women.
so that's part of it. Some people get upset over whatever. And other people fade away. Maybe they just, we weren't quite the right fit. But now we're getting a lot of new people in, and our goal
We've got a lot
is
of,
canvassing,
yeah.
but through any interaction with new people is just to welcome them and find out about them, let them tell their story. I think that's one of the, for me anyway, meeting people is just, ask them about themselves, and I know I'll talk about myself forever if somebody asks me. And so if we ask others and they share and they know somebody's listening,
Good for you.
that's a huge step forward. And then, sharing values.
It is very a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just in everyday practice, but at BUF in particular. I don't know if we need to go through the listening forward brochure.
I think we can read it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hi, John. I just
Oh.
noticed you there.
Hey, Rick, are you looking at 3 to 5 that we should each canvas about 3 people, or what's the rate?
Well, some are 3, some are up to 5. And some,
Okay.
Lee and I probably are more like, although we have, Jane, I didn't know you were canvassing, and there was one other, Michael Barris, I didn't know that he
I
was.
didn't either. Monday.
I promised her no more than 3 though, just saying. And I promised her easy people, just saying.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, that's the goal. And so
That
there's
means
still
I
a little
get
bit of,
you, right?
there's still a little bit of back and forth, final massaging of who's doing who. But yeah, we definitely, when you haven't canvassed before, we want
Okay.
it to be pretty straightforward, but we'll probably have one new person in there too. One that hasn't pledged before.
How many new people? How many people are we canvassing? I'm afraid I missed that part. I'm sure you said
Right
it
at
earlier.
200.
200 households.
Yes. Well, there's a few double pledgers in one household.
Yeah.
But that's pretty close to the number of households.
Okay. Yeah.
Last year, or for the current year that we're in, we have 144 current pledgers.
Okay. And we won't canvass each other, right?
That's right.
we take care of that in these meetings. So that means we can subtract 40 approximately from the 200 approximately.
That's right.
yes.
Yeah,
So we've got about 160 for 40. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
that's averaging 4.
Mhm, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, I have a bunch,
mhm.
but I'll be parceling some of those out. I know
Yeah.
John can take a couple more than what we've given him so far, and Jane, we don't have any for you yet, except for yourself. You were assigned to somebody else, so that pulled that one away. Yeah, okay, so I'll skip that. Oh, then the canvassing guide. Did you all get a chance to go through that? Or should we walk through that?
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't looked at it yet, so a walkthrough would be nice if everybody has, if people have the time.
All right,
Mail.
Hmm?
When did we get all this stuff?
Last week.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
How
And
come
today it came again too.
How come I didn't see it?
Buried in my inbox, I'm sorry.
okay, so I will.
Sarah, I just gotta say, I love your ambiance on your, I mean, you look like you're all ready to do a really forward-looking, high-tech YouTube video. There you go.
From,
Sarah doesn't think I'm talking to her. Yeah,
who are you talking to?
Sarah. I just love the look of your video there.
It's getting really dark in here. Sorry, I didn't realize you were talking to me either.
No, it was like your face was emerging from the shadows. It looked, there's a bunch of YouTubers that I follow that have exactly that kind of look, and it's just like,
Okay.
hey, then.
All right, I'm finally hip. It took
Yeah,
me a
you're
long
trend
time,
setting.
but.
Mhm.
It'll be viral any minute. Okay, so now where am I going? I am going to the Canvasser guide. Share. Now it's this teeny tiny thing. How come I'm not in that on my screen?
Oh,
So,
it's good, Rick.
no,
You doing the desktop publishing?
there we go. You see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hide the sidebar. Got a little bigger. Is it better if I make it wider and then,
Wider would be good.
okay,
Nice. Mhm.
and then bigger? Come on, there we go.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
Read it.
so listening forward, in case you didn't know what our theme is. And those of you who have canvassed before, this is pretty much a rehash of what we've had before. But those of you who have not canvassed, then this talks, the first page where it's going over kind of the setting that we're in when we're meeting with people and why we're getting together. So it's a good thing to contemplate before you go in to actually meet with folks, so that you're feeling comfortable with what their uh, expectations are, and also things that can help facilitate conversation, free flow of ideas back and forth.
Rick, I love this. This is really good.
This is nice.
Okay. This is why people give. People do give for all kinds of different reasons. Um, and this kind of lays it out. A lot of different philanthropic options, meaning they're giving not just to the church, but to or fellowship, but to all kinds of the charities. In fact, that's fairly common with Buffsters, I found. Most of us have a lot of other charities that we like to support as
Yeah.
well. But Buffs are central, by far our central, at least people I know, and then I know that how they're giving, Buff is the main choice.
The main thing, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. This says nearly every family makes charitable donations of some kind throughout the year. I'm not sure that's entirely true. Unfortunately, I've known people who don't give much. They're not very charitably inclined. But hopefully that's not the people that we're talking to about. And I don't think it will be. I mean, you know, we're wanting to support our community. But that's essentially saying, well, they're given here and there without any rhyme or reason, more or less. Major donors, those who have more ability to give, they are looking at it as an investment, and that's very much what we're looking for this year is, well, every year. But this year, in particular, because we're trying to set the stage for having a sustainable support, financial support for BUF, not just this year, but going forward. So that would fit into the investment arena. They want to know the needs of the fellowship. There's, we could go on and on about what the needs of the fellowship are. I mean, of course, it's financial need to support the building, because the building is where so many of us meet for whatever else that we're doing. And other organizations throughout the community use it. And, you know, social justice uses it, we all use it. And so that's important. And then we have staff that support all of us in our endeavors, whatever it is that we want to focus on. Maybe it's multiple things, maybe it's one prime thing that we want to focus on. But knowing how to go about being effective in what we want to accomplish is where the staff comes in. Certainly Paul, but any of the staff. RE is teaching our kids and teaching us, you know, lifelong learning. RE, if you don't know, religious education is another prime thing that we have. And then many of us feel that the choir is a critical part of BUF. I feel that way. It inspires us. It's in ways that we can't say, but we can emote with our singing and together share in that. Whether it's the choir singing or the congregation singing. You know, if it's congregation singing, then we have Melanie and Andrea and Don, I think, or Kevin, playing it. So there's a lot of different ways that we support each other that way too. So you can see so many different ways that BUF is so important to us and throughout the community. Recognizing the donor's gift. You know, I haven't read this for a while, so I'm kind of coming back to this myself. Every donor wants and deserves personal recognition of some sort. That's true and not. Some people want to be anonymous. And I don't know anyone who wants people to know how much they're giving, unless it's a special gift. You know, if they're giving to the endowment fund, or they're giving for a special need, a large sum in particular. Maybe they want recognition. But I would say in general, they're not really. I mean, we thank everyone. Anyone that's giving to pledging to BUF, we send out a personal thank you card to them after the campaign. And so that is recognition, but it's not widespread recognition. It's just them being thanked for being generous. So I think that's in particular the recognition that we're looking at here. I guess that shows when the recognition can be as simple as a personal thank you letter or a phone call. But we send out thank you cards to everybody that pledges.
Say we, you mean the individual canvassers do the people they canvass? Or is there a group of volunteers that do it for everybody?
We can decide what we want to do. In the past, it was the stewardship team.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right, so that'll be done afterwards. All right.
I think,
But if people want to do that, you know, as canvassers, I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
It allows them sometime, like I did a lot of them last year, and sometimes it's hard to write a nice, well-written thank you
Mhm.
to, a couple hundred people. And so if you have more people doing that, then each one can be more direct and meaningful.
Mhm.
One time, Rick, I thought when I was canvassing, and I don't know when this was, they gave us little thank you notes in with the pledge cards, so that when we were all done, we were supposed to fill those out and thank the people we'd met with.
That's a splendid idea.
That might have been the first year I ever canvassed, which was a few decades back, but I remember
I've got those cards, Rick, on file.
Yeah, I think,
Mm-hmm.
I can get those for us. I'll
Okay.
Yeah,
have to
they
print
just
them
went in
out.
the envelope, and that's part of the training, and you've got, if everybody's, their pledge card has their address on it, so you got the address for the person. It's pretty
Mm.
easy to do 3 or 4 for the canvasser, not 100 for you, Rick.
Mhm.
yeah, and of course we have another set of labels for everybody, and I think that might have been what drove having it more centralized. Was
Oh,
having
the
the
label.
labels.
I'm sure I had to handwrite the addresses. I remember that part.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Which works as long as your handwriting doesn't look like mine, but I can print pretty well. I like that idea. So Lee, let's talk about that some more, and talk with Michelle and see if she's prepared to be able to get that into the packets. It might be that we would do a follow-up in getting those thank you cards to the individual canvassers, in a week or so.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be something you send out right away necessarily if you met with someone, but soon thereafter.
Soon, before you turn the pledge card is, because if you're like me, you won't have another record of their address.
Rick, one issue I've had or challenge I've had sometimes is you connect with somebody by phone, and then you have a very difficult time connecting with them again, and you discover much later on that they have or haven't made their pledge.
Mhm.
Is there a way we can let people know when pledge cards or people are going online separately? So Canvasser doesn't spend a whole lot of time trying to reach somebody who feels like they've already done their bit and doesn't want to be reached.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a, yeah.
We always acknowledge emailed pledges. Give a thank you right away. I mean, knowing that we're going to follow up with a more personal one later, but to acknowledge that it went through. Sometimes
Talking about
it's
letting
clear
the
whether or not.
canvasser know.
Sorry, go ahead, John.
I'm talking about letting the canvasser know that somebody has made their pledge.
Yeah.
And so we do track, in fact, John will be in on this too. We do track as the pledges come in, and we have that easily sortable by canvassers. Whether we would automatically, John, is that something that you feel could be done pretty easy, or?
Asking me?
Which
Yeah.
John?
John Jersica, sorry.
Yeah, bing, bang, boom, we're talking about. Yeah, if we're gonna put in the spreadsheet who the canvasser is, yeah, we could do that, sure.
Yeah, well, notifying the canvasser if, well, what we do is at least in the past, we followed up if you have people that haven't, particularly towards the end of the drive, if you have people that haven't pledged, we'll let you know who those are.
Well,
Okay.
that's just as good.
Because that's to see if you're having a challenge, or if it's a miscommunication, or it got lost in the mail, whatever it is.
I would suggest that we can, I would assume we're gonna have some sort of window, right? A window where we're gonna start this and when it's gonna end. And I would suggest, what I've seen works well is for the people that are doing the general canvassing, when they end is at the end. It's like maybe it's a 3 or 4 week period, and you get feedback to people on what we've seen. But when you get to that end of that window, and you've got these people that haven't pledged yet, I would recommend that whoever the people doing up front, basically they're done. And then if it's a matter of chasing, I would hope there'd be other people chasing.
Yeah.
rather than expecting the volunteers, to continue to chase people.
Yeah, no, we do the
Have
follow-up.
that window,
The stewardship team is a follow-up on,
right?
but it could be that, it's simply just, is an easy fix for the canvasser to just, touch base again. I mean, if they're having difficulties getting in touch with the person, that's one thing. But if they
Yeah.
get in touch and they feel that it's a done deal and it's not done, a simple phone call might be an easy way to
Yeah.
test that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
John, what the rule of thumb for people that are that you chase and chase and chase and they just don't respond. The rule of thumb that we had last time, it was either 3 emails and 2 phone calls, or 2 emails and 3 phone calls, and then you're done. Then you kick it back to Rick and me. And you say that this person's just because somebody
That would be for any contact. Because some people just won't respond.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we don't want you spinning your wheels. If they just won't get back to you, then get them to us, and then we'll call Guido and get them out there on the.
There we go.
Do we have a timeline? What is the timeline?
Yeah, no, we don't want canvassers to be spinning their wheels, but we are going to be asking from the altar saying, please, get back to your canvasser. It makes it much better for you and it makes it much better for them. And it allows us to get things to the board
Right.
so they can start figuring out what they have to do in a timely manner. And John Jessica, coming back to you, yes, we're trying to get this, we're kicking off February 11th. We're hoping to have everything in ideally by the middle of March, but certainly by the end of March.
11 February is when it's going to start.
February 11th.
Yeah. All right. 11 February. So that's
Next week.
this coming Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday.
So that means when we come to church on Sunday, we'll be able to pick up our packages.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I would think it's going to start then. Maybe have like a 3 or 4 week window, and then what's 4 weeks from then? 4 weeks from then would be the
March 7th or
18th, 25th. Either the 5th or the 3rd or the 10th would be the cutoff date. And I would think after that, it'd be other people doing the chasing, right?
yes. Can
Yeah.
we say the 10th, Rick?
Pardon?
Can we just say the 10th? That March
I can
10th?
say that, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll make sure we get feedback to people on where there are people that they were assigned to. Like, I'm sure what we could do is if I see somebody and some pledges, all their people are done, we'll just send you an email. Hey, your group is done. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Your next 5.
Yeah.
Can you be a chaser?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and this last point at BUF, we practice year-round stewardship. We haven't been doing as well with that as we will be doing in the future and have done more so in the past. It's been a challenge, but that's the goal, certainly. But the pledge drive, of course, only is once a year.
Rick,
Yes.
just historically speaking, we are so much better than we were when I started at BUF. Because the pledge drive, it was just like this. Oh, it's time for the pledge drive. That would be like February. We'd start. I mean, it was like maybe January, the middle of January, we sort of were thinking, and then February, all of a sudden we're started. It was, we're doing much better.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Put it in,
Got room for improvement, but
oh yeah, there's always room for improvement.
And it's a very different attitude than the first time I got canvassed.
mm-hmm.
Completely different attitude.
When was that? What year do you ish?
Probably 35, 40 years ago.
So that's before I
A
started.
long time
Yeah,
ago.
okay.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Was that at the old location then?
Pardon?
Is that the old location over on
Yes.
Iron?
No, it was this church, but
Okay,
half of
Yeah.
okay. Because I don't know when they moved over, when people moved over, but I remember when it was, and the food bank too was over on
yeah,
Gladstone or Franklin, something like
Maple
that.
Valley and
Yeah, that
yeah.
was when I first came to town back in 80. Okay, So here's more good things to read, make your own pledge first, read the Canvas materials. Visit only signed families. We don't want crossed solicitation going on. That's not good.
Rick, can I make a comment about read the materials? If somebody asks you a question you don't know the answer to, don't panic, just refer it. Say, gosh, I don't know, but boy, Rick's got a big brain. I'll ask him, shall I? I'll get back to you.
You'll
Or
have
even-
to hear him talk like this, though. I'm sorry.
That's right. He may call you himself. Yeah. Mhm. Anyway, you don't have to, it's good to know the stuff, but you don't have to know everything.
No, absolutely. And that's, I think, true in life. I mean, you can only
Yes.
much. And,
That's what
oh,
my
I see
brain-
where I didn't correct something here. I say, please
Yeah,
contact.
you got Carl in there.
Sorry about that,
Carl.
Lee. I didn't catch that one. That's been there for a few years, I think. Yeah, and I'm looking at the time, I'm wanting to respect your time, but also try to get this in done in a manner that whoever's watching it after the fact will stay through to the bitter end. So this is important. Please do read it. But I do want to move on to the pledge card itself. I'm going to stop this one.
Can you send me all that stuff?
Mhm.
That's-
Yep.
That would be,
You may have to nag me once or twice. I respond well to nagging.
On pledge card, where are you at? I know I have you open.
well, I can ask Rick too.
There it is.
Yeah, ask Rick and he'll nag me.
No, I'm just saying I need to have copies of all this so I can be up to date in my reading material.
I believe I emailed it to you.
Well, not to Jane, because she's not on our list because she just volunteered Sunday.
No, but I think I did today. I think I sent it out to you.
Ooh.
Oh, I'll have to check. I haven't delved
have
too
you-
far
have
into
you
my
got it?
Yeah,
email.
because I looked you up on the BUF online directory.
You're
Oh.
awesome.
You and Michael, I sent out materials, I believe. But if I didn't, let me know and
I'll look at my email.
Hmm.
I can do
Yeah, if it
that.
didn't come.
Actually, I can do it
I'll
right
put it in.
now.
Okay, so this is the pledge card itself. Really, this is kind of a repeat what's on essentially of what's on the website. Same information, same dollar amount, frequency. If they want to say what kind of based on the Fair Giving Guide, what level of giver there are. And I'd say last time maybe we had 15, 20 people who weighed in. So it's not something that is expected. I mean, we like it. It helps us understand how committed they are to BUF. But other than that, it's or how they see BUF in their life, in as far as how important it is. Where they
Rick?
have to sign, electronic funds transfer, again, they need to sign, and if they're changing it or adding it, and with a voided check. And yes, Lee.
Can you scroll up, please? If everybody notices, we've got transformer, supporter, sustainer, visionary transformer on the back side, but we've got supporter, sustainer, visionary, tither on the front side. So I'm sure they've already been printed up and we can't change it this year, but if transformer is what we're going with, right?
Actually, we got tithing on this side, so some cards.
Well, that's okay then.
And so, tithing is, like
10% or more. Yeah.
everybody has to give 10%. That's just the way it is. And 10%, I think, is biblically the amount that one gives, 1/10 of one's
I got nothing.
resources.
I got
Meaning that's a high level of commitment and a high capability generally. Of course, many of us know the story of, the rich man giving a lot and someone with limited resources giving a little, and how the little is so much more meaningful to the giver, the one that's giving little, because based on their ability to give, they're giving much more. And so that's what this is really kind of asking, as well as indirectly.
So I know you can't change this year either, but on the Fair Share Giving Guide, it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, then there are two 80s on the left side form.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a 60 and an 80 on the right side.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I wonder, because these were pulled, I think, from UUA's site,
Yeah.
resources or whatever. And so one of these must have been updated and the other one not. Because 100,000 one looks like it's the same. 80, it's a 61 that's missing on the
Yep.
left-hand side.
Anyway,
So, good point. Oh, I was going to point out here on your copy of the pledge cards, well, not yours, Jane, and anyone I sent out in the last few days, but on the initials, sending out of materials down below here, I had what was historically, we had to be a member church of UUA, we had to give X amount per member. And that's changed a few years back, actually, but we did remove it from this pledge card for, well, Paul was sharing that he felt that some people felt, okay, well, if I'm going to be a member, I want to at least cover my costs, so that's what I'll give is $87 a year or whatever. I think it was around that amount. But now it's figured based on the size of the congregation and a number of other factors. So how much it is per person is not really relevant anymore. So it's not on there. I just wanted to point that out. It is different. The one that you'll have in your packet and all the pledge cards that people get will be like this. And whether they'll get the one with the 280s or the 60 and 80 is a 50-50 chance, it looks like to me. Okay.
If I could, I guess the expectation is we're gonna pick up all our stuff, and we're gonna start pledging, doing our pursuits. And then is the idea as we get results, I guess we're supposed to email you at that stewardship saying, and I guess our progress, as it were,
Or turn in the cards.
or turn in the cards,
Yeah.
or turn in the cards.
Yeah. Communicate it in some way, fashion, whether it's direct from the pledger, whether it comes through you collecting the card and bringing it in. But certainly you can email stewardship of BUF to indicate, well, what we're really, at least from Michelle's end, she needs to have confirmed gifts. She can't have essentially not hearsay, but secondhand
Yeah.
information. We need to have it in hand so that we know that it's there. And I don't know how, I think it's best that we have the actual documentation before we get it recorded. I mean, you can give us a heads up saying they're pledging, but to give us an amount that we want to record as gospel would be
Or if
premature.
Joe says they're gonna do it online, saying, Joe says they're gonna do it online.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right,
Because then we can update the status
right.
and know that they've been contacted and it's in process.
Right.
It's helpful, when we're doing follow-up.
You got it?
I don't know, Canvas training and materials from Heather Higgins.
I forwarded it to you so you'd have it.
Oh, yay.
Bless you,
Okay.
Heather.
Thank you,
I always
Heather.
knew you were one of my favorites.
I knew I had your email, so I knew it wouldn't be very hard.
Oh,
Well, thank you, Heather.
Yeah,
Um,
good for you.
And Rick, you're gonna be sending me a spreadsheet at some point?
Yes.
Right.
Just when was it? I think on
Parks Department. We would set up stuff.
that Friday, Paul and I, we went through everything and updated all the pledgers with the choir and RE people and taking what was in Breeze and pulling out ones that were old or dormant. And so now we have a good spreadsheet. So yeah, I will get that to you.
All right, great.
I also have all the canvassers listed on that spreadsheet. Do you want that as well?
If that's who's assigned to who?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And
Okay,
in case whoever has pledges this year, how much that pledge is?
yes,
Okay, yep, that's all I need.
yep. All right. Okay, well, I think then we're done. Not too much more than an hour, so that's good.
Thank you. This has been great.
Certainly, if you have any questions, you know how to contact me. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, you can don't come to my house, I think. At least not unannounced.
He's gonna say
Not that I know, drop-ins are kind of nice, it's kind of old.
Show up
We
on
used
your
to have
doorstep
some,
at
we
4
still
a.m.
have like neighbors will just drop in and stuff like that, but sometimes you're not quite prepared.
Even if we bring a bottle of makers. Okay. Okay.
It could be busy. So anyway, thank you so much for being in on this call and for agreeing to be, oh yeah, I'll stop the recording.